In this tutorial, I'm going to show you the WPBakery Page Builder Charts they have available to you. We're going to walk through every one of them, how to customize them, how to add data to them, how to change the colors and all that kind of stuff. This is part of the WPBakery Page Builder playlist. You can get to that through a link in the description down below or in the card above. And we're getting started right now. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. It's Bjorn from WPLearningLab, where we help you get better at WordPress so you can earn more for yourself, for your customers, and for your business. If you haven't done so yet and you like WordPress tutorials and tips and tricks, click the subscribe button, then click the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything. And with that out of the way, if you like deals, check out the half off hosting deal I negotiated for you with InMotion Hosting. Nearly every plan is half off, some are less, but every plan has a discount that you could use for yourself or for your clients or whatever. Feel free to go check that out in the link down below or the card that popped up. And with that out of the way, let's head to this tutorial. So the first thing we're going to do is either find a page to add charts to or make a new page. I'm going to make a new one by going to Pages and then Add New. And on this new page, we're going to add some WPBakery Page Builder Charts, which are really fancy and really easy to use, which is awesome. I'm going to name this page Report Builder. Well, Report Building, I'll name it. Click on Save Draft. Because we're not just adding charts, we're going to add graphs and pie charts, which is, I guess, this is a chart, but charts and graphs we're going to be adding. So I'm going to call it a report building page. Once the draft is saved, I'm going to click on Front End Editor. Then I will click on Add Element, and we're going to find our charts. So if you go a little way down, we have a progress bar, a pie chart, a round chart, and then a line chart. These are the ones we're going to add, and all of them have options within them. So let's just do them one by one. First, do the progress bar. Let's click on that to add it. It's going to open the progress bar setting box and add it to the page. On the left here, we see some demo data right there. It's very nice. You can add a title if you want in here. I prefer to add the title as a separate widget or as a separate element because CSS styling the widget title is very difficult. CSS styling a separate element is very easy. So that's why I prefer to add the title separately. Here's where we create the actual data in the chart. As we see, we have development, design, marketing, and here we have development, design, marketing, and the values that by default they're set to. If we want to add more, just click on this plus icon, and it's set to not very much at the beginning, so click on this arrow over here, and then we can add a label. Let's call this soccer, just to fit with the theme. A value of 100, because I'm good at soccer. For the color, there's a lot of predefined options, including custom color. I prefer to just use the predefined ones just to make life easier. These other ones up at the top here, if you want to edit the ones they have, just click on that arrow again, change the label, change the value, change the color. I'm just going to keep the labels the same. I'm just going to change the color on these ones just to make them a little more exciting than the colors they have, which is just bland gray. Okay, after we've set those things, I'm just going to click on Save Changes, and it's going to update on the left-hand side to show us our new entry and our different colors. That's much more fun, I think, than just the bland gray. We can add units if we want. Here we have the values of, doesn't show them on there right now, but we have the values that we set for each entry. For soccer, for example, is 100. And you can change the units, or you can apply units to that. So I'm going to say those are units of awesome, because that's what they are. You can change the default color here if you want, and you can add an animation. This only works when you have stripes activated, so let's just see what stripes look like. It's going to add diagonal stripes, which I think adds a lot more character. There we have our stripes. So here we have 90 awesome. Doesn't look quite right, so I'm going to call this, add a space, call this 90 units of awesome. And this is what happens a lot inside the WPBakery Page Builder. You do a change, and it doesn't look quite how you want it, so you go back and you tweak it. Happens a lot. Click on this animation box to animate these stripes, adding even more character. Nice, subtle design change, pops a little bit more. It's great. I really don't like when people say make a design pop because I don't really know what that means. Nobody really knows what that means because it's very subjective. But for me, having this little animation go side to side, that pops, that it draws your eye and your attention to that element. You can even add a CSS animation for when it loads. So whatever we select here, it's going to animate this little animated button on the right. So if we choose zoom in left, it zooms in from the left and just animated that button. If we click on Save Changes, we can see how it looks on our main element on the left. That's how it zooms in. So either choose a CSS animation or don't. It's up to you. We can choose to add further IDs and class names for further styling if you want to. Not necessary, or it's not required. The design options, we can add margins, borders, and paddings on all sides. We can add backgrounds to this element. But for report elements or reporting elements, I find the only thing I ever do is really margins and padding, because you don't want to add another background to distract you from the actual information. So that's our bar graph. If we click on this plus icon right here, I'm going to add a different one. Let's add the pie chart. The settings are very similar, so we're not going to take as much time on these because they're all pretty similar. It's a different design for the actual chart. So here's our pie. It's just a gray circle, and that's it. It doesn't look very nice by default, but we're going to fix that. Again, the widget title, I don't use the title. I use a separate element to add the title. Value, I'm going to change this to 80. The label value, if you just keep this blank, it's just going to pull the value from here, which is what I usually do. The units, if you want to experiment, just add something in there and see what happens. It's not written in stone. Anything you do in here is not written in stone. You can just quickly come back and change it if you don't like it. So I really encourage you, I'm showing you a lot of the stuff you can do with it, but I really encourage you to just try stuff. Tweak it, play around, experiment. Units I'm going to have as %, like I said. The color, let's go with green. CSS animation, I don't want to animate. Too much animation is too distracting. You can add an ID and a class name again. You can add the same design options as before. Pretty much all WPBakery Page Builder elements have the exact same design options. And that's all we have for this pie chart for options. So let's click on Save. Now we have our 80, it's green. As we can see, it goes around 80% of the way. And that light part is the distance that has not been traveled, and whatever that pie chart's representing. Let's close that. Let's add, what's the next one? A round chart. We've added the round chart here, loading the settings, widget title, same as before. Design, we can have pie or donut. That's what the pie looks like. That's what loads by default. If you want the donut, click on Save. It's going to update it to a donut so you can see what that looks like. Donut's not bad. I'm going to keep that. The style you can change between these ones. I'm going to choose modern. The gap is how much space there is between them. So here we have a gap of 2, which is that little white stripe, white line right there. You can have bigger gaps or no gap. I'm going to have a gap of 0. Show the legend. The legend, of course, is this area here where it says 1 and 2. If we uncheck that, there is no legend. Show values on hover. When you hover over them, you see it appears down here, the value, and up here. So if you don't have a legend, you definitely want to keep that on. But if you do have a legend, you don't really need to have the hover values. It's up to you how you want to do it. The values are down here. You can set them. You can edit the ones you have in there by default, which are just 1, the number 60, and the color blue. And 2 is 2, number 40, color pink. Add another one hitting the plus here. I'm going to call this 3. Value of 20, color green. You want to make sure you don't go over 100. I think I might have just now because the first 2 added up to 100. So if you have a value of 20 here and the first 2 add up to 100 already, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm going to click on Save. It should break it, but it doesn't. It just adjusts to fit. Or no, actually I was assuming it was percentage based out of 100, but it's actually not. Because you could have 60 blue hats, 40 pink hats, and 20 green hats. So it doesn't have to add up to 100. I falsely assumed that it did have to. So you can have it up to 100 if you want to, but you don't need to. And that's how we add more values there. The animation, this is how it loads. So if we bounce and we save this, we're going to see these. When the circle fills, when the donut is full, it's going to bounce at the end. See that bounce right there? That's the animation effect we choose here. Choose different ones and choose the one you like. You just pick it, you save it, you watch how it loads, and then you either like it or you don't, and you change it. CSS animation, this is what the overall chart will look like when it animates in. I recommend you don't have one for a chart like this, because what will happen, let's choose bounce for this. Let's choose, let's see, rotate down right for this. Save changes. What's going to happen is there's too much going on. The bar chart's going to be growing, it's going to be fading in downwards, and to me it's a little distracting. But if you like to have that much movement, go for it. You can add element ID and a class name, prefer the CSS styling if you want to. Design options, again, the same as all the others. Go down to the very bottom, I'm going to add the very last chart type, the line chart. Now we have a nice line chart down here. Widget title, same advice as before. The design, you can have bar or line. I prefer each depending on what the situation is, but the line is very nice because it shades the area under the curve. You can see where overlap is by the blue and the red combined to be purple in this case. But the bar chart's also very nice for a lot of things. So again, just pick one, see how it looks, and choose the one you like. Legend or no legend, yes or no, hover values. As you can see when we hover over them, we see the values. Here we choose the x-axis. So the values we enter here are going to be displayed along the bottom. And we have all the months up until August. You want to add more. If you want, add a colon, September, October, November, December. You don't have to have them all capitalized or anything. I just stuck with that because that's what they had. What you do have to have is the semicolon between the entries. Click on Save Changes. We're going to now have this graph extended to September, October, November, December. But there are no values for that yet. We have, for each of these X entries, we have a value of 1 and 2. So if we open these up, these y-axis values correspond to the x-axis. So the first one, the 10, corresponds with the first x-axis. The second y value corresponds with the second x value. So we just added 4 more months at the end. So we've got to add 4 more values. So I'm just going to add 4 really quick. And then I have to do the same thing on number 2. Otherwise, so I don't have to, depends on what your data is. But I'm going to, just to make it look a little more complete. If we save changes, we're not going to fill out these last remaining months over here. Let's see what those look like. So we had a really good month for option 1 in December, and that's kind of throwing off the scale on the rest of them. So if you find you don't like that, and you're able to tweak your numbers in a way that you can change that, you change that back to a value that corresponds better with the rest of the scale, and then they fill up the whole area. It's not very often where you have the flexibility to do that, but sometimes you do. The animation here is the animation of the bar chart when it loads, just like the donut chart we had a second ago. Choose bounce, click on Save Changes. These are going to bounce when they reach the top of their level. CSS Animation is the animation that happens to the entire element when it loads on the page. The ID and the class allow for extra styling if you want them. The design options, again, are very similar to what we had in every other WPBakery Page Builder element. I'm going to click on Save Changes and close this. Now we have all this data on the page, and it's very big. What I want to do is change this row width to be 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, this one here. If there's a layout that you want that's not defined up here, you can just change these. As long as the fractions add up to 1, you can have whatever you want as the fractional layout. I'm going to click on Update. And now I'm going to drag and drop my other ones right in there. So I'm going to go to the pie chart, hover over the name pie chart, a 4-pointed arrow shows up. I can drag and drop it into the second column, drag and drop the round chart into the third, drag and drop the line chart into the fourth. And these units over here, my units of awesome, looks a little wonky because of the too much text for that small area. So I'm going to change this to just no units. Save that, close it, now it looks a lot better. Here our months are looking a little crazy, a little too close together, but that's okay. The point is you can drag and drop these elements to whatever size of row or column you have, and they look good. They're resized and they're still functional. They still look good. They're still responsive. They'll work on a mobile phone. They'll work on a tablet. The charts inside WPBakery Page Builder are awesome. And this is all of them right here. And a very important note is all the stuff we've done so far on this page isn't actually saved to the page. It's in the browser's memory, but it's not actually saved. So whenever you work on a page like this, make sure you click on Save Draft or Publish or Update or whatever you need to do up on the top right here to actually save the content. Otherwise, it's going to be gone when you leave this page. And that would likely amount to a big waste of time for you, so make sure you save it.
As you may or may not know, WPBakery Page Builder is a paid-for plugin that you buy from Code Canyon. You may have received it built into a theme, so you may already own it. If that's the case, I have a course that you might be interested in. It is a complete WPBakery Page Builder course that shows you how to use all the elements and create awesome pages with it. I can give that to you at a steep discount because you already have this plugin. Just email me at bjorn@WPLearningLab.com and let me know, and I'll send out a coupon code to you. If you do not have this plugin yet, but you want that course, if you buy the plugin through my affiliate link, which is in the description down below, you can have the course for free. And buying it through that link does not make it more expensive for you. It's just that Envato and WPBakery, they give me a portion of their sale. So it's no extra cost to you. They just give me a portion of their sale. And in return for doing that, I will give you the course for free. All you have to do is click on the link in the description down below. Make sure you open it incognito mode or in a different browser or after you clear your cache and cookies. Otherwise, my account may not be credited, and then I can't tell if you bought it or not. But when you do buy it, you will get a receipt. Forward that receipt to me at bjorn@WPLearningLab.com, and then I'll cross-reference your receipt with what is listed as referrals on my account, what's been credited to me as referrals, and if they match up, I will send you free access to that course that you can begin accessing immediately.
So that's how easy it is. I hope this video helps you. If you haven't done so yet, hit subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss anything. Check out the half off for hosting deal in the description down below, and possibly in the card that popped up if I had any remaining cards. And next up is clicking one of these videos that popped up on the right-hand side so you can get even better at WordPress. Until next time, keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.